Hey everyone, welcome to my guide on Hellhounds. Hellhounds is a pretty simple high-level monster. They only use melee, so using Protect Melee negates their damage. Some locations have safe spots, which I'll show during the in-game examples. There are 6 locations that I will go over, but there's a few caveats that we have to talk about. If you're planning to go to the Karuulm Slayer dungeon, you must wear Karuulm boots, which I've listed all of them here. If you're going to Taverley dungeon, you need 70 agility or a Dusty Key. The Dusty Key is obtained by going to Taverley dungeon. And from the entrance, you want to run all the way around this way until you reach the southeast of the dungeon, kill the low-level jailer for the jail key, entering the jail cell, and speak to Velrak the Explorer. It's also recommended you sip a dose of anti-poison before going. If you're going to the Witchaven dungeon, it's recommended to have the Family Crest quest complete. If you're going to the Wilderness Slayer cave, you want to bring as little risk as possible, and we will go over welfare setups later in the video. Before we move on to the next section, pick your location, place a cannon in your inventory if your location allows it, and deal with the location caveats now so you don't forget later. Also, feel free to adjust your rune light settings now. Let's move on to armor setups. Below, you can see how I ranked the gear setups, a list of Demon Bane weapons, as well as useful items you can bring for your Slayer task. For melee, I created 3 hypothetical setups, and you can see the DPS difference between the 3, as well as the armor and inventory costs. Demon Bane weapons like the Emberlight and Arclight pair extremely well with high strength bonus, and if you're lower level, you can mix in some high pair bonus items like Sunfire or Proselyte to get a more balanced setup. If you need alternatives, I made a rank list for melee so you have more choices for customizing your setup. For ranged, you can actually get better DPS than melee setups with the Scorching Bow or the Blowpipe, but you are spending almost twice the amount on inventory cost. Like I mentioned previously, I have all of these set to protect melee and standing in melee distance, but you can also safe spot and use less prayer pots. If you need alternatives, I made a rank list for ranged, so you have more choices for customizing your setup. For magic, you have a few options. Purging Staff with the Dark, Demon Bane, and Mark of Darkness spell is now really good against Hellhounds. The Twin Flame Staff with Water Wave is decent because of the Hellhound's 50% water weakness, or the trusty Slayer's Staff enchanted with a Magic Dart spell is always an option. If you need alternatives, I made a rank list for magic so you have more choices for customizing your setup. And just quickly going over wilderness setups, but I highly recommend reading the notes below so you can protect yourself against PKers. I made 3 hypothetical setups, and you can see all 3 focus on 3 valuables, usually the weapon, the helmet, and 1 more item. You can see all 3 setups risk less than 20k, and you can still get some fantastic DPS from these setups. Here are alternatives for a wilderness range setup. Focus on 3 valuables, then the rest welfare. For arrows, don't bring more than 300. For throwing knives or darts, don't bring more than 1,000. If you're worried about PKers, you can always bring less and do multiple trips. Here are alternatives for a wilderness melee setup. Normal weapons are typically better than the Emberlight and Arclight because those weapons rely on strength bonus. If you're using wilderness weapons, you're risking a few 100k if you get PK'd, so it's up to you. And here are alternatives for a wilderness magic setup. For spells, don't bring more than 1,000 casts. If you're worried about being PK'd, you can always bring less and do multiple trips. All of these gear setups come straight from the No BS OSRS calculator, a tool that lets you test any item in the game against any monster. Other DPS calculators can be frustrating to use. With the No BS calculator, you're able to create up to 3 setups simultaneously and see DPS comparisons in real time. It also includes grand exchange prices for better budgeting, access to thousands of teleport maps which tell you the quickest way to a monster, as well as an inventory builder which suggests untradables for a Slayer task, and potion and resource estimates to make inventory building a breeze. And best of all, no useless information. Weapons, monsters, setups, everything you need with No BS. If you want to check it out, click the link in the description box below to find out more. We're now going over each location. When you choose your travel method, you can put the teleport items in your inventory, and you can also use the timestamps in the video player to skip to your desired location. For the Catacombs of Kourend, you need to investigate the statue in order to enter the Catacombs. Once you're there, you run this way to the Hellhounds. The best teleport to the statue is by using a Kourend Castle teleport. You can also use a Xeric's Talisman to Xeric's Heart. Another option is using a minecart to Hordle, or you can use the Carrot's Memoirs or Book of the Dead to teleport to the lunch by the Lancaliums. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Catacombs of Kourend. Let's investigate the statue to climb down. and we're going to head directly west, and you can see the Hellhound's room directly north. You can go ahead and turn on your quick prayers, drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, and watch your prayer points when they get low. If you're safe spotting, you can stand in the corridor and get the Hellhound stuck right on the ledge. If you want, you can mark the floor tile by holding down shift and right clicking. Now let's go over the Karuulm Slayer dungeon. Remember to wear the Karuulm boots, which we talked about at the beginning of the video. The fastest way to get here is by using Rada's Blessing 3 or 4 to mount Karuulm. You can also use a fairy ring to CIR and go north. You can also use a battlefront teleport, or by using a skills necklace to the farming guild and running north. Once you use the lift to get in the dungeon, you'll be right here at the entrance. You want to go this way and use the steps to the first floor, then running south and taking the steps here to get to the second floor, and the Hellhounds can be found in the eastern room. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Karuulm Slayer dungeon. Let's first take the elevator down, and we're going to go directly east and climb the rocks. Then climb the steps to the east. Then run south to the other steps. Then run east, and the Hellhounds are in the eastern room. Go ahead and turn on your quick prayers. Run in the middle of the room and drop your cannon. Drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, click the cannon so it's firing, and watch your prayer points for when they get low. Now let's go over the Stronghold Slayer Cave. The fastest way to get here is by using a Slayer ring, which brings you right next to the entrance. You can also use a spirit tree to the gnome stronghold and run southwest. You can also use a necklace of passage to the outpost, entering the stronghold, then running northwest. You can also use a gnome glider, which brings you to the top of the tree, then climbing down the ladders, or by using a royal seed pod, and running south to the dungeon. Once you enter the cave, you can use any of the 4 rooms to kill the Hellhounds, and standing in any of the passageways is where you safe spot. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Stronghold Slayer Cave. Let's go ahead and enter the cave, and run directly south. We're going to use the southeastern room because it's the only room with 4 Hellhounds, but be careful not to head into the Aberrant Spectre's room by mistake. Go ahead and turn on your quick prayers. And drop your cannon down. Drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, click the cannon so it's firing, and watch your prayer points for when they get low. If you're safe spotting, it's very simple. Stand in any of the corridors and the Hellhounds won't be able to reach you. Now let's go over Taverley Dungeon. Remember to bring a Dusty Key if you don't have 70 agility, and also sip a dose of anti-poison before going. The fastest way to get here is by using a Taverley House teleport and running south. You can also use a Faldor teleport and jump the agility obstacle west of the city, then running northwest. Or you can use a skills necklace to the crafting guild and running northwest. Once inside, there are 3 agility shortcuts you can use. There's an 80 agility obstacle for fast access to the Hellhounds. There's a 70 agility obstacle which brings you into the Blue Dragon's room where you can loop around. Or you can take the 63 agility shortcut into the Lesser Demon's room for fast access to the Dusty Key door. If you don't have those requirements, we'll run this way through the gate, taking this path, using the Dusty Key on the door near the Lesser Demons, switching on Protect Magic as we run through the Blue Dragons, passing the Poison Spiders, and into the Hellhound's room. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Taverley Dungeon. Let's climb down the ladder, and I'm going to go the long way without any agility obstacles, so just follow my lead. Open the gate by spam clicking it. Enter the southern gate, and run east. Then take the bend south. There's the 63 agility obstacle that we just passed. And now we want to head west into the Lesser Demons room. Switch on Protect Magic and use the Dusty Key on the gate. Then keep heading west, then south. Round the bend, and you can turn on Protect Melee as you pass the Black Demons. Keep running north past the Poison Spiders. And here are the Hellhounds. I like using the west side more because it's more open, but go ahead and drop your cannon, activate your quick prayers, drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, click the cannon so it's firing, and watch your prayer points when they get low. If you're safe spotting, you want to use the eastern wall. I have 2 tiles marked. If the Hellhounds are on the south side, you have to use the marked tile to the north. If the Hellhound is on the north side, you can use the southern marked tile to get it stuck. Now let's go over the Witchaven dungeon. The fastest way to get here is by using an Ardoon teleport and running east to the dungeon sign. Another way is by using the fairy ring B, L, R and running south. You can also use an Ardoon cloak 2, 3, or 4 to the farm patch. You can also use a Kandarin headgear 3 or 4 to Sherlock, or by using a combat bracelet to the ranging guild and running south. Once you enter the dungeon, you'll be right over here. Just run east and enter through the door to get to the Hellhounds. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Witchaven dungeon. Let's go ahead and climb down the entrance and run east. Open the door. Activate your quick prayers and drop your cannon down a bit south. Drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, click the cannon so it's firing, and watch your prayer points when they get low. If you're safe spotting, you can stand just south of the door where I marked the floor tile and just use the obstacles to get the Hellhound stuck. Now let's go over the Wilderness Slayer cave. There are 2 entrances you can use, but the best one is the 18 Wilderness one. When you go in, you're going to want to go this way past the green dragons. Flick Protect Magic as you pass to reduce the Dragonfire damage, and run east to the Hellhounds. One of the fastest teleports is using a Burning Amulet to the Chaos Temple and running northeast. You can also use a Wilderness Obelisk if you have the Hard Diary completed. You can also use a Games Necklace to Corporeal Beast and head out the cave. You can also use a Ring of Dueling to the Ferox Enclave, or you could use the Grouping Teleport to either Last Man Standing or Clan Wars and run east. So here are some example inventory setups. Anything in yellow is an optional item you can bring. And here is how I would set up my quick prayers, and feel free to adjust them to your preference. So here is the in-game example for the Wilderness Slayer cave. Let's go ahead and enter the cave and run east. I highly recommend turning on player indicators on Runelight and having highlight others enabled so you can see if there are any PKers on your minimap. Flick on Protect Magic as you pass the green dragons and keep running east. There, you'll find the Hellhounds. Turn on your prayers manually and go ahead and drop down your cannon. Drink your stat boosting potions, have auto retaliate on, click the cannon so it's firing, and watch your prayer points for when they get low. Have your mouse hovered over your one-click teleport, and teleport out if you see any red text on your minimap, so watch it closely. If you're safe spotting, there's a little nook on the eastern wall that you can use. This safe spot works most of the time, but if there's no Hellhound stuck to the north, a Hellhound that's south can come right up to you and attack you. So it's always good to have one stuck on the north side. And that's everything. If you found the video helpful, please leave it a like, and let me know in the comments what monsters you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching.